What's up, crypto enthusiasts? Welcome back to Wise Investing, and today we are tackling the issue of proof of value. Now, proof of value is a tricky thing because most cryptocurrencies aren't able to prove proof of value. In fact, very few are. The only ones are stablecoins, which is pretty boring because, Tether is pegged to $1, DAI is pegged to $1. You can prove that one DAI is worth $1. However, one DAI or one Tether isn't going to be worth $2 next year. And so it's not really that exciting. And those are the only ones that can actually prove the value. So, some other cryptocurrencies tried it. They tried to say, hey, our cryptocurrency is backed by diamonds, backed by gold. Well, that's silly. You got to trust that company that is backed. And so that defeats the purpose of cryptocurrency in the first place. So let's talk about proof of value because my team is creating Wise Token, and this is the first cryptocurrency besides stablecoins that actually has proof of value. The first cryptocurrency with a chance of going to the moon that has proof of value. But first of all, let's check out and see what the other things are. So since other cryptocurrencies can't prove their value because it fluctuates and people can buy and sell at any time, there's no way to prove it. They have proof of value assessments, and there's two popular ones. One's proof of work, and so Bitcoin is a proof of work value assessment. And here's the way that works. So the only way that more Bitcoin come onto the network, the only way to make more Bitcoin, is to mine it, because every 10 minutes. Bitcoin is rewarded to miners who complete the digital blocks of the ledger. Now, it costs energy, which costs money, to be able to have those computing resources to do that work to mine that digital block every 10 minutes. And so the proof of work value assessment says that, hey, that means that Bitcoin is at least worth as much as the energy that it takes to mine that Bitcoin. And that's not a very good value assessment because, first of all, usually it's worth a lot more than that. Sometimes it's worth less than that, but it's an argument nonetheless because you could say that, hey, if it costs less to spend that energy to make that Bitcoin, well, then Bitcoin could be worth less. So it's got to be worth at least as much as it takes to do that energy, which, okay, sure. Not really a good way to determine what the price is going to be, and definitely not proof of the value. The other way is proof of stake. And Ethereum, when it switches to Ethereum 2.0 later this year, hopefully, is switching to a proof of stake. And this is less hard on the environment, mining those resources, because instead of spending all the energy to mine the blocks, it's going to mean you have to stake a certain amount of it. So if you have 32 Ethereum, you could be a node, you could be proof of stake, you could run a node yourself, and that's the way that's going to change. Pretty much same concept, except you hold it and lock it away rather than mining it. So neither of those is proof of value, and there's nothing more that people want is to know how, proof of value. That's something that would be amazing to have in a cryptocurrency, which is one of the reasons why Wise is amazing. Also, before we move on, great sentence right here. Value of fiat currency and any cryptocurrency too is a function of its adoption representing demand and scarcity representing supply. So it's all a supply and demand game, and that's the way all cryptocurrencies work. So here's the way that Wise is different. The way that Wise is different is the way we do our pool of liquidity on Uniswap. So in case you aren't aware, we've got a 50-day launch in which 50 million Wise tokens are going to be available, represented here. Investors can send in Ethereum and buy those tokens over the 50-day period. At the end of the 50-day period, it's roughly 50 million tokens will be sent to the investors who sent in the ETH. And then that ETH is going to be paired with another roughly 50 million tokens and sent to Uniswap to form the pool of liquidity. Pool of liquidity is just there. You can trade against it. You can send in Wise, get ETH. You can send in ETH and get Wise. And it's going to be there. But the reason we're different is because of who owns that liquidity pool. So see, other tokens have liquidity pools on Uniswap too, but they have owners for their liquidity pools, which means those owners can take their liquidity away at any time, which completely obliterates any proof of value. Because you could say, hey, it's worth this much this very second, but today or tomorrow or the next day, somebody could completely pull all of that, and it's not really backed by anything. So we're doing it different because we are a nonprofit project, and so we are sending all that money, potential millions of dollars of money we are sending to the liquidity pool, and the keys to access that money we're sending to a burn address. No one ever touches it. No human ever touches it. It's held by the contract, and then the contract sends the keys to the burn address. Those liquidity tokens are the keys sent to the burn address. So that means there's this huge pot of money sitting there backing up the value from all these investors. And that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, is it one for one like a stable coin? No, that'd be ridiculous, because then if it was one for one, well then we'd never nobody'd ever make any money, because it would always be the same amount. You might as well, you might as well just buy stable coins at that point. The way that Uniswap works is that the more you trade one way, the more expensive it gets that way. And so this works both ways. So for instance, if everyone, got their 50 million Y tokens and 100% of people decided to sell immediately, which would be silly to do, by the way, because they haven't made any money at that point, and the system's designed to reward you greatly when you stake it. So, but this is just hypothetical. If they sold all those 50 million tokens, they're only getting half of the Ethereum back collectively. And so the people who traded first would get almost pretty much 100% back. And then as more people traded, the price would change and change and change until the last people don't get a good deal. But basically, 50% of the Ethereum would be accessible. And you may think, what? This is only 50% backed? Yeah, but it works both ways. And so that means that when more people buy, the price goes up and the price gets more expensive, more expensive and more expensive, such that, these 50 million tokens could be worth double, triple, 1,000 times what they're worth, depending on how many people come in after launch. And I don't see why people wouldn't come in after launch when we have an amazing referral program and when people are making money off of their stakes. And it's a great usable system that is incredibly efficient, that backs up your money. So that's how that works, and that is why there's undeniable proof of value. Now, let's think about this. Let's think about this compared to other cryptocurrencies. If you go to any exchange right now, think of the biggest exchange you go to. How much liquidity is on that exchange for the token or the coin that you want to trade? How much Bitcoin is actually there? How much Ethereum is actually there? Probably millions of dollars, right? But compared to the total supply, how much is actually there available to trade? Not that much. Bitcoin's price tanked earlier this year, 50% tank. Do you know why? Because there wasn't enough liquidity on exchanges, and so when people sold an amount, it wasn't selling 50% of all the supply of Bitcoins. No, selling a small amount relatively compared to all the Bitcoins. It crashed the price 50%. Well, in our system, we're going to have 100% of liquidity on the exchange immediately following launch. We're selling 50 million. The contract's selling 50 million. The contract's putting 50 million, big pot of liquidity there for people to trade against. That is incredible. There is no other token or coin that has that kind of liquidity, that's going to have that kind of liquidity, and that liquidity is there, backing up the price. And yeah, it's going to protect the price if it goes down, but it's going to appreciate the price when it goes up, when people buy it as well. So we're talking 100% of liquidity is on Uniswap. That is huge. Now, as more people buy Y tokens, buy, that liquidity is going to be less of a percent, less a percent. But the contract has built-in mechanisms to fix that for 5 years after that. So Uniswap will continue to have a large pot of liquidity that no one can take away, that everyone can trade against, whether they're buying or whether they're selling. And that is unprecedented because everybody else, they don't want to put all that money and throw away the keys. No, they want to take that for themselves. So these other projects out there, everyone, besides Bitcoin is the first and most honest project. And after that, we've got a bunch of these projects where people are just trying to make money. And we're trying to make money too at Wise Token, but we're doing it the right way. We're not trying to make money off the creation of the system. We're trying to make money off the system itself, and we are putting ourselves on equal footing with everybody else in that system. If you have more money than me, or if you refer harder than I refer, you're going to have more Wise tokens than me. So that is our system, guys, and that is why there is proof of value. Don't invest in cryptocurrencies that don't have proof of value without really knowing what you're doing. Because yeah, you can make money on Ethereum, you can make money on other cryptocurrencies as well, but none of them actually have proof of value. So you better be careful, and if you are not looking at the Wise Token project, I would take a second look. So thanks guys for watching. Hope that cleared up everything about proof of value. This was a tokenomics video, and I've got other tokenomics video to explain cryptocurrency and how the Wise token contracts works. Check those out as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.